What it do, comic babies? I'm Bunk Mastavy, and today we are overviewing my most anticipated book for the rest of 2023. Which I guess is technically not true anymore because now I have it, so now, my most anticipated book is a book that's yet to come out. But that doesn't matter. Today, we are talking about Ice Cream Man, Sundae edition, Volume 2. This has been the book I have been most excited about coming out. So, if you guys have been watching the channel, you guys know I am a big Ice Cream Man fan. I absolutely adore Sundae edition Volume 1. I covered some of that in a previous Spooktober video that came out previously. But this particular volume right here, super excited to go over the stories that are in this one. So, I don't want to waste any more time. I'm not doing any more preamble. Let's check this one out.
Alright, so the first thing that we are going to do here is probably the most exciting thing that anyone's going to do with a book, and that is take the shrink wrap off. Once again, you guys are getting the absolute first look of my time with a brand new hardcover. I should stretch the spine, but I'm too excited to go over this with you guys. So you guys are going to get this right away, glue pops and all. So right here, we have the Sundae edition Volume 2. It's going to be very similar trade dress to number 1. We get a pink background instead of the blue. Once again, we have the same creative team working here of W. Maxwell Prince, Martin Morazzo, Chris O'Halloran. W. Maxwell Prince is, of course, on writing duties. Martin Morazzo is on illustrations. Chris O'Halloran is on colors. Not credited here is good old Neon for letters, which, little secret for you, is just W. Maxwell Prince in a hood. So right here, we have this embossed image. It actually kind of pops out a little bit, so you can see it's got some gloss that's going here. You can see that reflection, but it is raised, as is the Ice Cream Man logo, from the actual board of the book itself. And this time, he's got 2 ice cream cones, because it is Volume 2. How does that compare against Volume 1? Glad you asked. Let's go ahead and take a look at them side by side on a shelf. So right here, if I can find out where my finger is, this is Ice Cream Man Edition Sundae Volume 1. This is Volume 2. So there's going to be a few things that you'll notice that are going to be different from each other. First, I have to point out this because I think this is so clever. You may notice up here in the sort of trade dress, it doesn't give a number. But if we go down to the bottom, the way that they differentiate the volumes is the number of scoops. Sundae Edition Volume 1, 1 scoop. Sundae Edition Volume 2, 2 scoops. I think that's so clever. Otherwise, obviously, you see that they have kind of a little bit of a flipped color scheme. So the Ice Cream Man text itself is in kind of this vanilla white. Sundae Edition here is a pink. We have a different shade of pink that's being covered here as the main color, and then Sundae Edition writing is kind of the blue that's right there. So we have that. Other thing is going to be that Volume 2 is thicker than the first volume. So Volume 1 is about like that. We move it over. You can see there's a little bit more there. And that's not kind of an optical illusion or anything. There is more content in this one. So they're both going to have 12 issues of the main series, but Volume 2 here, that is going to have 2 specials that come with it. Anyway, that was just a look side by side, and again, can't get over how cool that numbering system is. Back to the overview. Okay, so coming back to this book, this is Volume 2. And as you just heard, it's a little bit thicker than Volume 1. So let's talk a little bit about what's contained in this volume. and kind of compare that to Sundae Edition Volume 1. So Sundae Edition Volume 1 was just Ice Cream Man issues 1 through 12. There were, of course, some extras in there, so there was the translation of the Spanish issue. There were variant covers that were in there, but as far as the main book itself, it's just going to be 1 through 12. This volume right here is the next 12 issues, so 13 through 24. But in addition to that, it's got 2 extra issues that the first didn't have. So, first thing that this is going to have is Haha issue number 6. Now, Haha was a standalone series of clown stories that W. Maxwell Prince did, each with a different artist. And actually, issue number 5 was one of my favorite issues from last year. That was done with art duties by Gabriel Walta. Issue number 6 is done with the classic Ice Cream Man team. And in fact, you can see the cover right here is an homage to Ice Cream Man number 1. And we'll cover that a little bit later, but it is tied in to the Ice Cream Man series. And the other extra that's going to be in here is the Ice Cream Man Quarantine Comics special. So you get a little bit more content. Taking a look at the back cover, we have this issue of The Ghost, and that is from issue 19, How to Be a Ghost. This is the cover B, also by Gabriel Walta. Do I like Gabriel Walta? I think there's a good chance that I do. So this particular series is going to clock in at 456 pages, so it is a little bit bigger than Volume 1. And retail on this one is going to be $44.99. But if you're watching this video, you probably know how to find this a little bit cheaper than that. So, ton of stories in here that I absolutely adore, without making this video an hour long, which it absolutely could be. I'm going to kind of give you a scatter shot, and I'm just going to cover 3 of the issues in here that I particularly love. So we're going to open it up. We get these great end pages with the sprinkles, the popsicles, and the stars. Get that going out. Once again, we get the credits here, lettered by good old Neon, Ice Cream Man. And we're going to get a breakdown of the issues that are going in here. We are going to go ahead and start here with issue number 19. So that was the one that I showed you off earlier. So this is the cover B. This is the cover A right here. And this is How to Be a Ghost, or How to Be a True Blue Apparition, Haunting for Beginners. And you see on the cover A, we get these simple instructions that are going to break down the steps in order to be a ghost. And this particular issue takes place over 3 separate time periods. And each of them starts off with a set of nomenclature. And you can see they give the age right there, where they're going to break down the items that you need for this particular age in order to be a true blue apparition. And the whole issue itself is going to be a step-by-step guide for how to be a ghost. Now that all sounds weird. What this really is the story of a young boy who feels neglected within his family, feels like he is himself a ghost in his own home. You can see his parents are eating on the couch, watching Missing Parsons, which is a takeoff on W. Maxwell Parsons. And it's the show where people disappear and no one can find them. Tonight, someone disappears and no one can find him. So the main character in this particular story goes through the neighborhood, observes while no one can see him, and you get a lot of different sort of things right here. haunt at your discretion. And they remind you at different points from a purgatorial place, transmit a parting message to the sorry oxygen breather. You are a ghost. So he stops in to see one of his friends, and his friend is grounded and can't go with him. And the ghost boy here is going to see some trauma. There is a trigger warning here for self-harm. And that's going to stay with the boy as he goes through. Next time we see him, we have the nomenclature of age 39. And you can see at this point he's still a ghost, but for different reasons than before. We get to see different things. And so now he's a ghost not because his family isn't looking at him, but because he is an office drone who just sort of goes through life trying not to be noticed and trying to go about things. And he gets home, he buys a pint of Rick's Sweet. He's not being noticed by the grocery store cashier who's just trying to get through her day. And all of this is, again, just getting through the day. His family doesn't notice him. His wife is leaving to go to yoga again. You see that she's applying her lipstick. She needs to go for the third time this week. Sorry, not yoga, her massage therapist. And her excuse is that he's realigning her chakras. His kids aren't noticing him. And things are pretty dire here. And so that's our check-in at this age. And then our last nomenclature check-in is at age 78. And you can see at this point, our main character is still a ghost, but at this point, he's a ghost in almost a literal sense. He's given the prognosis that it's an advanced stage, only one month, maybe 2. He's sedated. His kids come and talk to him, and in this case, he isn't able to interact with them. And there's this sort of through idea that this particular character, and he's a stand-in for sort of everybody, is a ghost in our own world, that we can't interact with those people we love most. But it does leave on a semi-hopeful note. And honestly, it's a little bit beautiful. And I'm going to leave it at that. Another excellent issue right here. This is the Dr. Seuss episode, or just the childhood stories. I'm not going over this one, but this is a great one. So the next one we're going to cover is issue number 24, Telethon. So once again, I have the cover B. You can see this one next to it. Now this is one that's particularly special to me, and you guys have actually seen some of this if you watch any of my previous videos, because over my shoulder in every video is actually this page right here from it. So I've got a few pages from Ice Cream Man. This is one of my absolute favorites from this particular issue. And if you saw the thumbnail, you got to see that side by side and also just next to it. But this particular issue is a metacontextual telethon to save Jerry's life. The main character of this particular story, who something is happening to him that he doesn't realize. And he finds that his life and his body are slowly falling apart. And Rick, the Ice Cream Man himself, is trying to lead this demented telethon to try and get any sort of interest into this particular man's life, and no one is interested in helping him. And it's sort of just not just about him, but how we are all finding ways to distract ourselves from the suffering of others. And right here he talks about, okay, so I get it. You guys aren't interested in helping Jerry. That's fine. He's not very interesting. But what about Roscoe? What about when we put Roscoe the Border Collie in? Now, if you guys don't donate, his life is going to be in trouble too. And it's sort of this little commentary about how, we can sort of see the suffering of others around us, but the second that you put an animal into it for so many people, at that point, that's where it gets serious. This is, by the way, in the actual issue, you can see for this one, he's holding off a copy of the Sundae edition volume 2 in the original issue. He's holding the cover of this particular issue. So there's the telethon issue. He's holding the hardcover right there. I'm not going to spoil what happens with the outcome of this telethon, but it's Ice Cream Man, so you can probably figure it out. So the last one that I want to cover here is Haha issue 6. So you might be wondering, why is this side story contained within this particular hardcover series? And really, this is basically a side story to a previous issue of Ice Cream Man. So I think it's issue 6. It's one of the issues that's in the first Sundae edition. We get the ambulance story when there are 2 ambulance drivers who are driving the body of Harry the Happy Clown in the back of their ambulance. This is the story of Harry the Happy Clown. And he's not a particularly happy fellow. And in fact, it kind of reminds me, if you saw the movie Joker, a little bit about sort of that narrative about, him going through the motions of trying to make it work as a professional clown and how that doesn't work, and just sort of how they're all working against each other for the same clown gigs. And he's about to be fired. And of course, he's drawn in by the temptation of the Ice Cream Man, and that's how it sort of crosses over. And then this right here, this is one of my absolute favorite pages of the Haha series. This right here, Harry has a little bit of a breakdown after he has a car crash, and he sees these images right here. And these are actually a whole bunch of recurring images, both from the previous stories of Haha and images that come from Ice Cream Man. So we have the recurring vulture, that's right there. We have, I can't remember what the name of those are, but they're introduced earlier in this one. We have Mad Dog, who's coming here. But then we also have some of the characters from Haha. So we have right here the old woman from issue number 5, which, again, was one of my favorite issues from last year. And all of this is background that brings us up to the moment that Haha, or that we get to in the actual earlier issue of Ice Cream Man, where we get Hank, I think it's Hank the Happy Clown, is not so happy a clown anymore. Lastly, let's check out some of the extras right here. So that one that I showed you before of the children's episode, one of the best things right here, and that's a familiar image if you were watching before. There were so many printings of that particular Ice Cream Man issue number 20, and they all get presented in different Dr. Seuss ones. So we, of course, have Cat in the Hat, Oh, the Places You'll Go, The Lorax, Green Eggs and Ham. This is a particular apropos one for that particular issue. Andrea Sorrentino, who is, of course, one of the masters of the modern horror comic. And we get just these absolutely wonderful, very creepy, very haunting variant covers that all come from the series. And just a really great assortment of what we see throughout. But that right there, that's Sunday Edition, Volume 2.
So that was it. That was a little taste, just a little scoop of Ice Cream Man Sunday Edition Volume 2. This book has a whole lot going on in it. I touched on some of kind of the standouts, some of the things that I think you should know about going in. But honestly, the only way you are really going to be able to know what this book is about is checking it out for yourself. I adore this book. I can't wait for you guys to check it out yourself. So, let me know down below. Are these stories that you have already read? Are these stories that you are excited to check out? Are these stories that you hate because you are Tyler? Anyway, let me know down below. But in the meantime, I've been Bunkmaster B. You all have been amazing, and I'll catch you next time.